So as you've probably noticed throughout this talk, we've been trying to demystify the baitcaster. And one of the things that people potentially get confused about is the numbers on the side of the reel, which we've already touched on, things like the 50 and the 51, left hand, right hand. But the other thing that usually follows one of those numbers is a couple of letters. So you've got XG, HG, PG and standard, okay? Now, standard won't appear as any letters on the side of your reel, and then you've also got the rest of those to go through. So XG is extra fast gear, HG is fast gear, you've got standard, obviously standard retrieve, and then PG for the slower retrieve speeds. So I think I've explained what those are. Yeah. Can you talk me through the techniques and the reasons for those different retrieve speeds?
Yeah, so usually when you're trying to fish fast moving baits like topwater or like jigging, you usually prefer an extra high gear because you need to reel in more line.
Yeah.
When you're looking for an arounder, you better choose an HG, so a fast reel, yeah, which is very good for all different applications. A standard retrieve speed is more likely for finesse techniques like slow jigging or maybe finesse fishing. Yep. And the PG versions, those are the reels recommended for very, very big lures or when you really, really want to slow it down.
Okay, cool, fantastic. And one of the things to mention as well is that all of these reels can be used for nearly all of those applications, but understanding retrieve speeds in your own fishing is going to help you move your hand at the right speed, is essentially what this is for. It's to make things easier for you, the angler. But, for example, with me, I like to use an XG when fishing finesse techniques, and the reason is I like small movements on the handle taking up small amounts of line rather than a half turn to take in the same amount of line. But others might want to slow their hand down or speed their hand up and use a slower retrieve speed. So it's horses for courses. You'll choose the right one for your style of fishing, but there is so many options available, but you now understand, hopefully, retrieve speeds a little bit better. So talking of demystifying baitcasters, when you look at the specs of all of the Shimano baitcasters online and you're trying to make a decision about which one you're going to buy, there's loads of numbers and there's loads of letters, and one of those numbers is Dragforce. So you'll see 4 kg, 5 kg, 10 kg. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, the lighter the reel is, the less drag force it has. Yeah. The more heavy you go, let's say you pick a 300 or even a 400 reel, the more drag you have because you need to fight bigger fish. But you can always add drag force by adding pressure with your thumb. So even with a 4 kilo drag, you can add pressure with your thumb and you can manipulate the way you fight the fish. So that's the way how to fish it. And a thing I want to mention, 4 kilos on a drag or 10 kilos on a drag are really those numbers. Yeah. Some other competitors do it a little bit different. They try to make it a little bit up, but Shimano states 10 kilos, it's really 10 kilos.
Yeah, so you might be able to get a little bit more out of it, but it's definitely going to give you the number that is stated on that spec sheet when you pick up your reel. Right, so now we're going to touch on MGL technology. MGL stands for Magnum-like technology, and it is the next step in spool technology from the guys at Shimano. So tell me a little bit more about MGL and how it translates into baitcasters.
Yeah, MGL, you have Aldebaran MGL in your hand. It has a very, very light spool, but the MGL technology also helps to make the spool much more sturdy. So you can fish light weights and also very, very heavy baits. And this is only available in the MGL lineup.
Cool, and one of the things that's really, really cool about the spool being lighter is you can fish those lighter baits. Like we said, the moment of inertia of that spool is going to be lower, so you can fish a much broader range in, for example, the 70 Metanium DC.
Yeah, you can. And you can gain longer casts and also more control because the spool is much easier to control through the whole cast.
Cool, so that is MGL technology. Hopefully that makes that one a little bit more clear. Now we're going to move on to line types.